You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down. Mr. and Mrs. Martini, welcome home.
This is what I wished for.
You see, George, you really had a wonderful life.
One of the most beloved Christmas movies of all time, It's a Wonderful Life from 1946. You might think you know this classic, but trust me, there are so many secrets behind the scenes stories, production struggles, and emotional moments that even lifelong fans have never heard about. So in this video, we're breaking down 20 hidden facts about It's a Wonderful Life. Each fact has its own little story, and by the end, you'll see the movie in a whole new way. So grab your popcorn, get cozy, and let's jump in. Fact 1, the movie was a box office flop. Most people assume that It's a Wonderful Life was an instant hit, but the truth is the exact opposite. When the movie was released in 1946, it struggled badly at the box office. It had a big budget, but it didn't make enough money back. Critics at the time said it was too sentimental and too dark for a holiday film. World War II had just ended, and audiences weren't ready for a movie dealing with financial pressure, depression, and suicide. The film was almost forgotten for years until a copyright mistake brought it back into the spotlight decades later. It's wild to think that a movie considered a failure back then is now one of the most loved films ever made. Fact 2, the story was originally a Christmas card. Before it became a movie, It's a Wonderful Life began as a short story called The Greatest Gift. The writer Philip Van Doren Stern couldn't find a publisher for it. So in 1943, he did something creative. He printed the story himself and mailed it out as a Christmas card to friends and family. Someone eventually showed the card to Hollywood producer David O. Selznick, and that led to RKO buying the rights. From a rejected story to a homemade Christmas card to a Hollywood classic, that's quite a journey. Fact 3, Frank Capra saw himself in George Bailey. Director Frank Capra didn't just like the story, he connected to it on a personal level. Capra had returned from World War II feeling lost and unsure about his career. Just like George Bailey, he felt his life hadn't gone the way he expected. So when he decided to make the movie, he poured all of his emotions and fears into the film. He said in interviews that this was the movie he was born to make. That emotional connection is a big reason why the film feels so real and touching. Fact 4, Donna Reed was not the first choice for Mary. Donna Reed, who became iconic as Mary Bailey, wasn't the studio's first pick. Famous actresses like Olivia de Havilland, Ginger Rogers, and Jean Arthur were all considered before Reed. Ginger Rogers even rejected the role because she thought it was too boring. But when Reed auditioned, Capra immediately saw her natural charm and decided she was perfect. Today, most fans can't imagine anyone else playing Mary. She brought warmth, humor, and strength to the character that made her unforgettable. Fact 5, the snow in the movie was revolutionary. The snow in It's a Wonderful Life wasn't real snow, and it wasn't the usual Hollywood snow either. Before this movie, studios used painted cornflakes to fake snow, but they were loud and crunchy. Actors had trouble recording dialogue because of the noise. Frank Capra wanted something more realistic and quieter. So he helped develop a new type of movie snow made from soap water and foam. It looked real on camera and allowed actors to speak normally. The technique was so good that Capra even won a special technical award for it. Fact 6, Jimmy Stewart was nervous about returning to acting. James Stewart had just come back from serving as a bomber pilot in World War II. He wasn't sure he even wanted to act anymore. In fact, It's a Wonderful Life was his first movie after the war, and he felt rusty and unsure of himself. Stewart later said that he related deeply to George Bailey's emotional breakdowns because he was struggling with his own mental health at the time. Those real emotions helped give his performance the raw, honest feeling that audiences still admire today. Fact 7, the swimming pool under the gym floor was real. One of the most fun scenes in the movie is when the gym floor opens and George and Mary fall into the swimming pool during the dance. Guess what? That wasn't a special effect. The swimming pool was real, located at Beverly Hills High School. The floor could actually slide open during dances. Capra discovered it by accident while scouting locations and immediately wrote it into the script. Today, the pool still exists and looks almost the same. Fact 8. Lionel Barrymore worsened his illness to play Mr. Potter. Lionel Barrymore, the legendary actor who played Mr. Potter, suffered from severe arthritis and had to use a wheelchair during filming. But he didn't want pity, he wanted to play one of the meanest villains in movie history. Barrymore pushed himself through pain to deliver a powerful performance. His sharp voice, icy attitude, and cold expressions made Mr. Potter unforgettable. Fun fact: Barrymore was actually a kind and generous man in real life, the total opposite of his character. Fact 9. The film accidentally entered the public domain. One of the biggest reasons It's a Wonderful Life became a holiday tradition is because of a copyright mistake. In 1974, the studio forgot to renew the copyright, so the film fell into the public domain. This meant TV stations could air it for free, and they did. Every Christmas, dozens of stations played it again and again. Millions of people discovered the film during this time, helping transform it from a forgotten flop into a beloved classic. It's one of the most famous accidental successes in movie history. Fact 10. The movie helped launch the FBI into Hollywood. Here's a shocking and little-known fact. In the 1940s, the FBI actually looked into It's a Wonderful Life. They believed the movie was dangerous because it portrayed bankers like Mr. Potter as greedy and corrupt. The FBI feared it was spreading anti-capitalist ideas. This was during the start of the Red Scare, when Hollywood was being investigated for communist influence. Of course, the movie wasn't political, it was about community and kindness, but the FBI's misunderstanding only adds to its strange history. Fact 11. The Martini family was inspired by real Italian immigrants. Frank Capra was born in Italy before moving to America, and he never forgot his immigrant roots. The friendly Martini family in the movie was based on people Capra knew growing up. He wanted to show how immigrants enriched American communities. The Martinis represent the American dream, hardworking, hopeful, and grateful. Their scenes with George are some of the warmest moments in the film, and they also highlight Bailey Park's message of inclusion and opportunity. Fact 12. Jimmy Stewart's emotional breakdown was real. One of the most famous scenes is when George Bailey prays in the bar, asking God for help. Jimmy Stewart later revealed that he wasn't acting, he was genuinely emotional and overwhelmed. The war had deeply affected him, and the scene brought out feelings he had been holding inside. Capra was so moved that he used the first take. That raw, shaking emotion on Stewart's face is one of the reasons the movie still hits so hard today. Fact 13. Bedford Falls was inspired by a real town. Bedford Falls, the charming hometown in the movie, wasn't a real place, but it was inspired by Seneca Falls, a town in New York. The town has a Bedford Falls Bridge, a main street lined with old shops, and even a barber shop like the one in the movie. Many historians believe Frank Capra visited the town while serving in the Army. Today, Seneca Falls hosts an annual It's a Wonderful Life festival celebrating the film's legacy. Fact 14. The set was one of the largest ever built. The Bedford Falls set was massive, one of the biggest constructed at the time. It covered 4 acres on the RKO movie lot. The set included streets, buildings, a residential area, and even 20 fully grown oak trees. The level of detail was incredible, from shop windows to street signs. Since the story takes place across different seasons, the crew had to transform the town from warm summer weather to snowy winter scenes. This enormous set helped the town feel alive and real. Fact 15. The movie was shot during a heat wave. Even though the movie looks cold and snowy, filming actually took place during one of the hottest summers in California. Temperatures reached over 90 degrees, especially under the bright studio lights. Jimmy Stewart wore heavy winter clothes and pretended he was freezing when he was actually sweating. Donna Reed fainted several times between takes because of the heat. The cast joked that it was the hottest snowstorm in movie history. Fact 16. Donna Reed had to learn how to milk a cow. In the movie, there's a sweet moment where Mary Bailey is shown milking a cow. Donna Reed had never done anything like that before. She grew up in a city, not on a farm. So the crew taught her how to do it on set. Everyone was surprised when she nailed it on the first try. Reed loved proving she could do things people didn't expect. This small detail helped make Mary feel like a real small-town woman. Fact 17: a real cop and taxi driver inspired Bert and Ernie. The characters Bert the cop and Ernie the cab driver were actually based on real people, a real policeman and a real taxi driver who were friends in the town where Frank Capra lived. Many people think they inspired the Muppets Bert and Ernie from Sesame Street, but the creators of the Muppets said that was just a coincidence. Either way, the Bert-Ernie duo adds fun and warmth to the movie, especially in the scenes where they watch over George. Fact 18: one tiny line changed the ending. The famous line, "Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings," was almost not included. It was added late in production after Capra felt the ending needed one more emotional touch. The line spoken by little Zuzu Bailey became one of the most quoted movie lines of all time. It also gave closure to Clarence's storyline. Without that tiny moment, the ending wouldn't feel nearly as magical or heartwarming. Fact 19: the movie was nearly lost forever. Before it became a beloved classic, all the original film negatives were damaged and nearly destroyed. For years, TV broadcasts used low-quality versions that looked washed out and grainy. It wasn't until the 1990s that restoration experts worked tirelessly to save the movie. They cleaned the film frame by frame, restoring it to its original beauty. If they hadn't stepped in, this classic might have been lost for good. Fact 20: Frank Capra said this was his favorite movie. Frank Capra directed many famous films, but It's a Wonderful Life was his personal favorite. He said that if he could be remembered for only one movie, he wanted it to be this one. Capra felt the film carried a message of hope, kindness, and community values he believed deeply in. Even though the movie struggled, at first Capra lived long enough to see it become a cultural treasure. He called it the film I made from the heart. So that's it, 20 hidden facts about It's a Wonderful Life that show just how much history, emotion, and creativity went into making this beloved film. It wasn't an instant success, but its message has touched hearts for almost 80 years. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more hidden facts videos like this, hit that like button, subscribe, and tell us in the comments which classic movie you want us to cover next. Thanks for watching, and remember, no man is a failure who has friends. See you in the next one.